I'm Gordon from Adam and Alice Studios, and I'm here to interview the wonderful Lilly. What we found amazing is what people actually do beyond looking beautiful. The outlook of our industry is all about looks and glamour, but we're here to find out the real true beauty. Beauty always comes from within, and we're here on the hunt for talented individuals for our talent show, Sustainable Spotlight. Now I'm here to interview these beautiful models to see who will be staging with us on our show. So let's first welcome Lilly and Olga to begin with, who will be brand ambassadors for Adam and Alice. And they've worked with the brand since 2016, and Lilly began modelling for Adam and Alice first show, I think, in 2017 with DI Fashion. Then the journey began for Lilly becoming an amazing model. Now she has launched her own book on a vegan diet. So let's find out more about these beautiful ladies who've worked their way up and to where they are today. And I'm here to find out a little bit more about them. Let's welcome our first talented Lilly, who will be hosting the show along with me next year. So welcome, Lilly.
Hello, Gordon.
So tell me a little bit about you. How did you get started in the modelling world?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's an interesting question. Actually, to be more precise, first, I started when I was 13. So
Really?
I was back in Russia, and I was quite fit, because I was into sports very much, and I was working with my mom, and then there was a casting show saying that they are looking for new talents for a sport brand, and I was actually really curious about this. I wasn't thinking that I would be a model or anything like that, but because I was fit and I was quite confident, I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And I went there and they actually liked me and they offered me a photo shoot, and that's how I got my modeling portfolio. Afterwards, I got involved with lots of fashion models as well as lots of photographers, and that's how my connection expanded. And when I came back, oh, I'm so sorry about my phone. I have to put it on silence. So, when I came back to UK, I already had a portfolio, and I went to a fashion networking event, which was fun. I just went there because I knew somebody, and I got introduced to some photographers. They took some nice pictures of me, and they connected on Facebook, and that's how I found also a manager. So my first manager was an Italian. He was working with catwalk models only. So at that moment I wasn't doing catwalk, so I wasn't sure. But then he took me to a fashion show. I really loved it, and actually that was my first experience in modeling in UK. And since then, that's how it expanded.
Wow. And you've, of course, you're now pretty much an influencer as well. You've got over 58,000 followers on Instagram. So it's lovely to see you. And so tell the viewers a little bit about you. Give us a bit of a background into who Olga is.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me, Adam and Alice. I really appreciate that. So I am Olga Iaschelcic. I am an artist. I paint abstract art. People in the art world knows me. Who doesn't know me, obviously. Obviously, I'm here to say hello. And I'm just an artist. I help fashion industries as well. I help people like Adam and Alice to promote their brand, of course, because as you know, it's really, really hard for starting brands, especially to be, I don't want to say out there, but yes, they have to be out there, they have to promote themselves. So there you go, that's me.
Yeah, and do you think art and fashion are aligned? Do you think that the events that they've got similar audiences? Do you think?
Jesus Christ, that's a good question, Gordon. Yes and no. So, for example, going to an art gallery is not like going to a fashion show. Well, as I said, yes and no, because you can go to an art gallery and have open a bottle of champagne, for example, if you want to sell art. But you cannot go to take modern, for example, open a bottle of champagne, right? So the answer to your question is yes and no. It's depending which kind of art as well.
Yeah. So how did you get started out in the world of art then? How long ago did you become an artiste?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Gordon. So I went to art school, of course. And as you know, my background is Russian. I've been studying a little bit in Italy as well. And obviously, we have many good artists out there, especially abstract. And the answer to you is, well, as long as I know. That's making any sense.
So when you say abstract then, you don't, you're not into portrait or landscape type of settings, it's a very specific style of painting, yeah?
Yes, you're right. That's very, very specific, and it's very beautiful as well to be on a lake and paint, and it's time consuming as well. So to me, for example, I have huge respect for people who do that. Huge respect. It's such a time consuming. Well, it's not that abstract, it's not time consuming. But you have to go there and cold in the sun, and you have to, once you're not there, you can't paint anymore. So I'm assuming abstract is something like you can paint at 2 a.m. in the morning. You have your paints there, and you have your music there, and you have your feelings, so let's put them on, on canvas.
So I'm here again with another one of our fabulous guests on the Adam and Alice studios. Annika, lovely to see you with us today.
Lovely to see you too.
That's a lovely outfit that you're wearing there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Actually, so I've been focusing on not buying clothes as frequently because I know the impact it has on the environment. So this skirt was actually my grandmother's.
Was it?
Yes,
wow.
It was. And white skirts with teenagers have really come in, so I was so lucky that she had one. And crochet has really come in this summer. But crochet actually can't be made by machines. They are usually made by children in sweatshops. So I reached out to a teenager who actually crochets, and she made this top for me. So it is pretty much sustainable.
Oh my goodness! So you are the embodiment
yes.
of sustainability, which is amazing. But before we talk a little bit about that, perhaps just roll us back, because you've become quite well known as a child actress, haven't you? And I know that you've been on things like the Space Girls and others. So tell me a bit about your early film career.
So when I was from the age of 3, I did the typical ballet, acting, singing classes. And then when I was 6, an agent was scouting, and there was they called the best girls from each class, and they picked me for their agency. And I started with a bit of modelling, and then I started to go into more adverts and short films, and from 6 years old to now.
Wow, yeah. And you were telling me earlier that you work for some well-known brands as well. Tell us who they are.
Yeah, so I think last year I did an advert for Frozen the musical, and then I also did an advert for Monopoly, which has been recurring multiple years. And I also did one for Pinterest.
Did you? Wow, excellent. And what were they all? They all photo shoots, presumably, were they, or were they talking parts as well?
Yeah. So because it's an advert, so it's like quite short clips. So in Frozen, I had to do a bit of singing, and then for Monopoly, it was us playing the games. So it's usually just clips, and then they put it into the advert.
So cutaway type stuff.
Yeah.
My weakness, I guess.
Yeah, it's so important to create content continually, isn't it, and be consistent. Why do you think you've been able to sort of grow your Instagram following?
So actually, Instagram is something really interesting. It's a very, very good platform for people nowadays that you work. For example, 10 years ago, Instagram wasn't as useful as now. So now if you want to connect with people, you use Instagram.
So now not just looking for beautiful models for their campaign shoot, but of course if they've got models that have got a sizable Instagram following, then it's a bit of a double bubble, isn't it? Because it makes you more appealing for the brand to work with. Because obviously, if you're not, it's not just about the content that you're creating, but you've also got an audience as well, which of course could help with that brand. So do you think that's going to be that's a sort of a sizable shift as more models with audiences are getting picked more?
So I'll tell you what is the secret. So as long as you can provide them enough exposure, they are happy to work with you. For example, some people, even if they have high audience, they don't target specific brands and they don't get this high engagement, and that's the problem. And usually when a brand would ask me to work with them, they ask for my insights, audience. And then they see that actually lots of people go to my page and they're watching this, and that's what they are interested in. They are not that much interested in my lots of followers, because as I said, Instagram there are lots of followers, but they are really for people who are targeted, and lots of brands that they are very focused on that.
Yeah. So what motivates you then? So when you're out and about, is it like, oh right, today's an art I'm going to be painting, or does it just, I mean, for example, I'm an author, and I find I had to commit to a certain amount of pages last year when I was writing my book, and there were some days when I just didn't want to write. I just didn't want to write. I was like, no, I'm not in the mood for it. And I guess it's the same with painting, isn't it?
Yeah, you are absolutely right. It's the same with painting. So one day you feel like, I'm going to go shopping for this. I love yellow. I love bright colors. And you feel like, fine, I'll paint. But then by the evening you feel like, oh, don't feel like painting today, had such a long day. However, the next day or the next week you feel like, I feel like painting today. So it's, for example, we have two types of painting. We have acrylics, which is beautiful, and it's new style that I'm trying on. And we have, for example, oil on canvas, which is really hard to paint. It's very difficult to dry. I mean, I don't want to say I hate it, but it could take 2 to 3 months to dry. And I paint big paintings, really big paintings. And usually I have a studio. You can't imagine how smelly is in that studio. I have to leave the windows open, and just people outside, if they are telling me, please, other businesses, what you're doing inside. That's how long it takes. The smell is terrible. People sometimes they don't understand, because they will say, well, this painting is overpriced, for example.
Yeah,
but
they don't understand what goes into it, do they?
Exactly. So,
and it's a bit like fashion. Sometimes people have got no idea what's gone into the making of a dress, the fabrics, the context of it. So yeah, as we're sort of talking about fashion here, more particularly, what are the as I was asking Lily, what do you like to wear? What is your style?
Gordon, as you can see, I am very casual today, very casual. I even texted Adamalis to say, hi, do you have something for me before, I'm going to talk to Gordon? And she said, what, you look fine. So my style is casual, comfortable. Obviously, we'd rather buy, as I said, something that we can, I don't want to say put it in the washing machine and wash it, but I would like to say something that you can wash it, and you don't have to, throw it away. As you talked to Lily about dresses, you said those dresses that you put them on today, you don't have to put them on tomorrow. However, Gordon, if you do that, if you put them on today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow, you do have people that would say, well, I saw you wearing this dress in Cannes 2 years ago. And what do you answer to the people? What do you say? I mean, what would you say, Gordon? Tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I when I look at my cupboard, I've got my favourite shirts. I won't lie, I do, and I sometimes feel sorry for my shirts if I've not worn them. So I just wondered whether or not, you know, it's the same with ladies. I mean, you ladies have probably 4 times the cupboard space that we guys have. But I wondered, you know, sometimes people can just be chilled out, relaxing, and love maybe an organic cotton jumper or something like that.
That's what I'm wearing right now, you see.
Yeah, and it's what do you like about being involved in film? What do you like about the experience?
I guess I've always loved being in front of the camera. I mean, acting is one of my greatest passions. I love it so much. Anytime at school when there'll be a play, I'm always the first one to try and get the lead. So I guess I've just always, and I love film. Like, every time I watch film, I'm just in awe of the actresses, and I just wish I could have that talent. So when I'm doing acting, I just, you know, it's not a chore for me. It's something I genuinely love.
Yeah, sometimes actors, the one thing they love is being somebody else. So they love the idea of almost creating a persona that they can live under. And I have met some actors in my time that are extremely shy, actually, but once the camera is on them, oh my God, it's a bit of a transformational character. Why do you think that is?
I think, you know, sometimes not everyone feels comfortable being themselves, and then when you get given this part, it's just something completely new, and you just get to be someone like it's just completely unique and different. And I'm a quite shy person. Most of my friends would say that I'm a shy person. You know, I'm never the one to always, you know, say, "Oh, do you want to meet up?"
I'm not going for brands, so I always dress because I want to look good, feel good, and I always, and as I said, I would always sustain or support small businesses, because those are people that they actually really need to grow, and they depend on people like me who can get extra exposure and support, because those brands, they already spend millions and billions of pounds on their PR, marketing, and that's, again, it's not because they are that great, but because of the marketing. So, yeah, you see my point here.
Yeah, no. And it's nothing worse than wearing an ill-fitting garment, is it? If you've got something that looks amazing, but it doesn't fit you well, or it doesn't look good on you, it's a waste of money, isn't it? You want something that makes you feel good.
And you want to look after the planet. I mean, we are all saying, hey people, we should look after the planet. Look, the ice in Russia is melting, California is burning. What do we do as individuals? I mean, do we switch the lights off? I mean, my mother is sick of me. I mean, because I go in every single room and I switch the lights off. And she's like, I hate you, you know. I mean, but how do you change? I mean, what as a person, I mean, what do you do? I mean, it's really hot in this room. Do you switch the aircon on, off? I mean, as a person. So, back to you, Gordon. What do you do? Tell me.
What do I do? What do I do to be sustainable?
Yeah.
So I work with an organic, sustainable brand, actually. Obviously, you know, what would be your most proudest moment then? In your tender years, I was about to say.
So with acting wise, so the movies...
Yeah, or anything that you've done really, anything that you'd like to be able to say that, yeah, I've achieved something great so far.
I think it would probably be getting into my senior school. I think, you know, academics are so important for me. I don't, you know, I really want to succeed in life. So when I got into my school, I was just over the moon, because it's one of the best schools in the country. And it just, oh my God, I was so happy. And I mean, after that, the next few months was probably like the happiest time of my life. I just couldn't stop smiling.
So when you got the letter, what did you do?
oh my god, I was like, all my parents were ecstatic. They were like, oh, all this tuition is paid off, and oh my god, I was so happy. Yeah.
And so, looking back at some of your career highlights, what would you say was one of your most proudest moments?
Good question. My proudest moment. Well, I guess there's a long way that I still go. I don't have one of my proudest moments because I have quite high limits. So I'm still trying to achieve that, and that's like a lifetime. So for now, I'm very proud to be ambassador of veganism, of WWF, where sustainable fashion. I'm also proud of encouraging people to be healthier, exercise.
Yeah, that's great. So let's just talk a little bit more about fashion, obviously now, and you've got a nice story with what you were wearing today, which is great. But you know, your generation, the younger Gen Zs and millennials, have got real strong values around this cause about climate change, probably more so than my generation, to be honest. And obviously, we've just gone through a pandemic, which has made us very, very much aware. How do you think it's important to promote sustainable fashion, and particularly independent brands that can't compete on price with some of these fast fashion juggernauts?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays trends are going in and out every month. It's crazy. Like people will say, "Oh, this new print is so in," and then 2 weeks later, everyone will be like, "Oh, that's so ugly." It's crazy. It's not sustainable. It's not affordable. But companies, massive companies, are giving the opportunity. If you go online, most companies that teenagers are buying from, I can probably buy tops for £5, and then people are like, okay, I'll buy loads then. But it's like, you don't understand the impact that just a simple top can have. Not only it's very unethical, but environmental, it's very bad. That's why I like to reach out to small businesses, and they are a bit more pricey, but you know, you're paying for their time and effort and their product, and you can wear that piece of clothing knowing that, you know, it's not harming the environment. So I think it's so important to be sustainable with clothing.
And as I said, I have three types of people that they are following me. So I have sports people that are getting motivated when I'm at the gym. I always post, I show my abs, and they love it, and they always answer to my stories. Or when I go to fashion events, and they always wear something nice, and they say, for example, oh, today is Monday, and they wear green, and this is my color, and have a nice day, everyone. So then some other people, they are answering to my stories who are in fashion, and then I know those people are in fashion. Or when I see a picture on Instagram and some animals, and then I say like, oh, how cute these animals are, so we have to protect our planet. And then you get other people that actually put lots of hearts to that pictures. So those are people who are from sustainability and from veganism and from ecosystem, and they are interested in that. So that's how I attract my audience. And if I would not post like for about 3-4 days, then my engagement would go lower, and they would think like, oh, what's wrong, like she didn't post. Then so it's actually important to keep up with your social media. However, the truth is many times I feel like I need a break from social media.
I was going to ask you about that, because sometimes influencers say to me they're on a hamster wheel and they can't get off because because the influencers are constantly providing this regular amount of content. The audience wants it, and then, you know, because it's you doing it, it's quite difficult. And I do get you. It's almost like a social media detox, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And sometimes it just, it was actually really funny, because sometimes when it was one weekend, I wasn't feeling that well, so I didn't post anything, and then I was getting all these like strange messages. Are you okay? Is everything okay? What's happened? You know, I'm like, oh, thank you. And talking about sustainability, I think it's really affordable. It's very good for the planet. People can understand that they make a difference by choosing this. And also that's the future in the long term. we all know that we need to do something because we get all this global warming, we get all this flooding, heat, and Amazon is burning, and all of these serious issues related to environmental crisis. And we need to do something, and people are getting more aware. And one of the ways of contributing to this is sustainable fashion. So I think it's actually a great way of changing.
So I'm going to ask you this then. What's your favourite dress?
My favorite dress? Do you mean my favorite designer or?
Well, yeah, either favourite designer or favourite look. What was your? Maybe it's a killer picture that you almost would have framed. That you or send to your mum or send to I don't know, whatever. What was the standout? I'm trying to figure out why it was.
Okay, so the less is better, you know. So it's like I like very see-through dresses, and I like very open dresses because I guess I'm the right age. I've got the right body, and I like showing like parts of my body, which is fine. It's part of the fashion. And I like a bit of a glamour, which also makes me a bit stand out from the crowd, because when I had an event a few weeks ago and the girls were wearing really nice long dresses and I just was wearing like a see-through dress, and I got so many cameras on me, and that's actually fun. Why not?
So do you think there's some pressures though with some of the top influencers?
Definitely. I think a lot of, especially fashion influencers, every single person in the comments will be like, where did you get that from? And if you don't reply in 2 seconds, they're like, oh, you're gatekeeping. It's like they don't have time to go through every single comment and reply to everyone. And I think there's a lot of pressure on them because people are like, oh, it's such an easy job, but it's still a job. You know, you still have to put a lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah. Well, you imagine if somebody's got the one you mentioned, 450,000 followers, and they get 10,000 likes or 2,500 comments. I mean, you just imagine being able to comment or respond to every single one of them. It's different, which is why, of course, some of the bigger influencers have got teams behind them that help support them to do just that. But yeah, no, it's interesting to hear. So where do you think the fashion industry is going to go? What's your for somebody that's that loves it, excited by it, is motivated by it? Where do you see it going?
So I'm really hoping that people, instead of buying loads of different statement pieces, they invest in timeless pieces, because there are so many, like just a good pair of jeans, get a good quality one instead of buying a 15 quid one. And then it will last a really long time. I doubt that just jeans will go out of style. But if you think about it, a lot of styles from 20 years ago are coming back now. Early 2000s is a massive thing with teenagers right now. So I take loads of my mum's clothes and loads of older friends that I have. I really just recommend, instead of keep on buying, if you actually look at your parents and family friends, because clothes from the 70s, 90s and early 2000s are really, really in right now. So it's actually good, and there are a lot of second-hand apps now, like Depop and Vinted and eBay. A lot of people in my generation have started buying second-hand clothes.
You know, that's working 10, 12 hours a day, you know, head down. So I do think that the table is turning.
I think you're right, and I mean, if you look online as well, we have so many brands now that are in the UK, made in the UK, and usually that means that we are actually being sustainable, because obviously, I mean, made in the UK, it's not, I'm trying to put this right, so let's say we have to pay more to those people. And the people who actually work for you, they will say, hang on guys, you know, I don't want to work for example, let's say if it's plastic, I would not do that. I would not want to make this dress from, I don't know, 50% to pollute the planet. I mean, I would go to protest if it's me. So I think you're absolutely right what you said. I think we would like to have this kind of connection with the brand to know actually where is this shirt coming from, or where do I mean, how is this brand coming to me? What's it telling? I mean, what's the story behind as well? So I agree with you on that, Gordon. I think that's very good. I mean, I would, as I said, cotton factory probably will not have the relationship, but you can have the relationship with the brand, you know.